Greetings. My name is Steve George, and I'm a Senior Solution Engineer of SAP with a focus on Gold Client. In this video, I provide insight and how-to content for the Gold Client number range utility. I feel obliged to mention that this content is an advanced topic, but if you have prior experience in working with number ranges, that could prove helpful here. This video will focus on these key topics: use cases and the intended user audience, notable topics related to this program, and how to execute this program. I will conclude with several useful topics, a summary of best practices, and where to locate additional resources. The typical use case is to execute the number ranges program after having performed a client refresh by following one of these two processes. Gold Client was used to copy master data from the source into an empty client. A database copy was performed so that all data in the source was replicated to the target. Because the organization's basis team typically executes client refreshes, it makes the most sense for this team to own the execution of this program. It may be best to think of having to execute this program as a client refresh post-processing step. Let's now spend time focus on a few notable topics related to this program. It is important to manage number ranges in the target client because data is being copied from some other client, typically production, into this target, and because users are likely creating new data in the target as well. Gold Client's solution is to increase or inflate the last assigned number to some higher number within each range. And just to be clear, this program is executed within the target client. You may wonder, what are the ramifications if this program is not executed? What could occur is that users will be transacting in the target client, thus generating new data. And when the SAP program attempts to save the new data to the database, it realizes the data already exists and so generates a short dump because it does not know how to reconcile a situation where duplicate records exist. There are some visuals within the user guide to help explain how this situation may occur, so reference this content if helpful. Allow me to narrate the steps while executing this program using the Gold Client user interface. Go to T-code ZGOLD, Z-G-O-L-D. From the Gold Client dashboard, select either of the post-process buttons as the program is contained within both. On the next screen, select the number range utility executable. Notice the selection screen requires only minimal inputs. The processing options allow the user to execute the program in summary or update mode. I'm going to use the summary mode for this execution because I want to check the results before performing the actual update. The middle section is probably the most critical input as this is where the user dictates how large a buffer to create. I'm going to input a value of 10, and in a few moments, I will explain the impact of this value. The final section allows the user to apply the program's execution across all number range objects or to only a selection. I'm going to use the default selection of all objects. Select the Execute button to run the program. Its runtime is typically 5 to 15 seconds. This screen shows the program's output. The first 8 columns of data are read just as they appear in the number ranges table, whereas the updated number column in red shows the values that will be applied if this program was executed in update mode. The output also includes the remaining percent and warning percent columns, which may be useful to confirm that the inflated numbers will not cause issues. The remaining percent is calculated based on the updated number value, and the warning percent is simply being read from table TNRO, which is where number ranges are defined. So, how is the updated number determined? Let's use this number range as an example. We can see the starting number is 45 with all zeros, and the ending number is 45 with all nines, so the total range is 100 million. We can see the status value is 45000-22391, which means that more than 22,000 POs in this range have been consumed. The program first calculates how many numbers are still available in the range. It then takes this number and applies the user's input, in this case 10%, to determine the increased value. Finally, the program takes this value and adds it to the number status, which we can see is 451,0020152, an increase of about 10 million. So from a user's perspective, this means that when creating a new purchase order, the number will be created using this value and not this value. I will now return to the input screen, select the Update Database option, and execute the program again. At this point, the number ranges table has been updated accordingly. Let me share with you some useful content. This program only updates internal number ranges. As such, external number ranges will not be impacted. This program cannot be executed in production systems. This program is not designed to prevent existing data in the target client from being overwritten. The input screen provides an option of excluding number range objects from being included in the program's execution. Qlik provides a few known exceptions by default, and others can be added if needed. The input screen contains an execution log option that shows who ran this program and when. If for some reason the number ranges program will not achieve your team's desired outcome, it may be necessary to use standard SAP processing instead. This slide contains a summary of best practices. With respect to the Increase by percent field, Qlik advises using a value between 5 and 20. Values lower than this may create only a short-term solution where the program must then be executed again, and values higher than this have been known to cause other various issues within SAP. With respect to the selection criteria, use the All Number Range Objects unless the team has known exceptions. Be sure and limit the access to this program to just basis and/or administrator roles. For all details regarding this program, please reference the Gold Client Number Range User Guide located on the Qlik Help website. It includes content about the calculations performed by this program, additional details about number range exceptions, and charts to help explain why it is important to execute this program. There was a lot of content shared in this video, but I hope that you found it to be of value. If this video and our related user guide still leaves you with questions or in need of support, please submit a support case and our team will respond accordingly. Have a great day.